Education should be less about stuffing facts into kids' heads that they can recall and more about teaching kids how to learn lifelong, how to solve problems, communicate, put things in context, collaborate. And this is tied in with the model of pedagogy, which is inappropriate to do that. It's a broadcast model. It's focused on the teacher. I'm a teacher, I have knowledge, you're a student, you're an empty vessel, you don't. Get ready, here it comes. And that's a one-way, one-size-fits-all model, and the student is isolated in the learning process. We can change the model of learning, and we need to for a new generation and for a new global economy.
What's an example of a new way of doing it?
Well, I'm impressed by the steps that have been taken in Portugal. Here's a relatively poor country, sovereign debt crisis. Every kid has a laptop connected to a high-speed network. And it's not about technology, it's about changing the relationship between the student and the teacher in the learning process. The kids learn collaboratively, they learn in groups, a lot of discussion and a lot of discovery where they have to go online and find stuff.
What's an example of how that works in practice?
Well, I participated in some classrooms in Portugal where the teacher says, okay, kids, let's go to the astronomy blog. Today we're going to learn about something called the equinox. Who knows what an equinox is? They're 7-year-olds. They don't know. She says, okay, go find out. And the kids know the deal. They can do it by themselves, partner up, work in a little group. Classroom explodes. It's noisy. Kids are online. They're searching around. One group comes up with the answer. We know what an equinox is. They explain it to the rest of the class. The other kids are asking them questions. The teacher's curating an experience that's customized and that's collaborative rather than shoving facts down kids' throats.
And what about media, the future of media, newspapers, for example? What's your experience in that?
Well,
in terms of young people and their way of learning?
Yeah. Increasingly, young people don't read newspapers. As one youngster said to me, the newspaper, have you ever seen one of those things? They come out once a day. And they don't have hot links, they're not multimedia, and you get this weird black stuff on your fingers. She describes how she has a whole bunch of RSS feeds that inform her, and now she's got a whole environment on Twitter that really creates a context for her to learn and to understand. So the problem that newspapers solved is not really a problem anymore, and that's why they're all going bankrupt. And I may be reading a newspaper in 10 years, but my kids sure won't. They don't now. They're well informed, but they don't read newspapers.
But you're writing books.
I am. I'm an author. Although I've written 14 books, I got to tell you, I'm not sure I'll write another one. With my latest book, Macroeconomics, I'm talking about 15 different institutions that are all being transformed. We just talked about the schools and universities as being one. But and the newspaper as well. That's a second. But I have 15 communities. Maybe I should have an environment with 15 apps, whereby I'm curating knowledge development, where I have guests, where I have my own thoughts, where I'm building communities, where I have additional research, where I have other explorations that are going on. Maybe that's going to be a more effective way of learning and being influential than me writing another book.
I really look forward to that. How do you keep in touch when we talk about young generations? How do you know what they're thinking?
Well, I study young people, but I also have reverse mentoring programs. I've had this probably for 15 years now. And these are fairly formal things, It's every month at least. I'll get together with one of my 4 or 5 mentors, sometimes just on a telephone, or sometimes they'll just send me an email. Like, Don, you got to get on Quora. Twitter is great, but you got to get on Quora. And I'm thinking, what the heck is Quora? I don't even know about Quora. Well, that was a few months ago, and now I'm on Quora. So this is how I learn from young people.
Optimistic, pessimistic?
Well, we have a big problem in the world today. We need to rebuild all our institutions, and we have a new generation that's coming into the workforce and into society, and they're telling us that they're unhappy with what they see. The biggest problem they see is unemployment. 40% in Spain, 25% in France, 30% all across the Mideast. And we told young people, you work hard, you get a job, you have discipline, you have good values, you're going to have a prosperous life and a happy life. And we lied. We didn't deliver on what we promised them. And they're mad. And I think we're in the early days of a generational conflagration that's going to make the youth radicalization of the 1960s look like kid stuff. And it's our responsibility to fix this.